morning, eighth graders. Welcome to our week 6 of technology class. Woohoo! Thank you so much to all of the kids who have been submitting in their work. I have currently about 81 emails from a bunch of different kids, and I promise I will get through them as quickly as I can. I'm hoping to be through all of them by today. And so what I usually do is, well, actually what I always do is I respond to your email to let you know. And if I've already graded it right there on the spot, I'll just email you your grade in the email. If I didn't, then I will grade it. And I actually have, because I'm just an old-fashioned kind of person, I have a clipboard and I keep track of my grades on the clipboard. And then what I do is when I get the time, I go and I put it into the grade link, okay? And so please, if you don't see something right away, like literally 10 minutes after you send it to me, it's probably because I just didn't get the time yet, okay? So I will get back to you as soon as I can. And I'm a very generous teacher, meaning that at this point in the school year, during the first quarter, I do not take off any late points, okay? Because I understand that we're all getting adjusted to a new school year. It's obviously very different. So you are welcome to send me any of your assignments any time throughout the first quarter. But again, if I don't receive them by, which I believe it's November 11th, is the final day of the first quarter, then I cannot give you credit for it. There's no way for me to go back in. Okay, so you do have to submit everything before then. But this is by no means me telling you to just do your work whenever you want. You should always get it in by the due date. Why? Because as we move through the school year, I will take off 10 points for every week that it's late. So don't get in the habit of being late with your work. But I am giving a grace period because I understand that we're all getting adjusted to the year. So please set aside, I would say 1 day per week, make that your technology day, and then maybe set aside 1 day a week as your robotics day, and just get your assignments done, send them to me, and that's the best way to keep on track. If you've fallen behind, then just catch up, just spend a day, a couple hours or whatever, catch up on everything, and then you'll feel really good about yourself. All right, enough of that. So this week we are moving into a topic that I feel is very important. Reason being, because I have been asking for quite a few writing assignments, especially in robotics class. And what I've noticed is that your writing is really lacking in the area of editing and revision. A lot of you send over things, and I do see good thoughts in them. And I see that you are trying to share about whatever the question is, but then I'll see that everything is maybe all blobbed together, or there's a run on, or the grammar is just totally off. Oh my goodness, I've seen some of you guys, instead of using the word because, you type C-U-Z. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, no, this is not how we write. This is not how we speak, right? Maybe this is how, when you're in a chat, you use little abbreviations, but when you're with a writing assignment, something that you are formally writing for a class, you always have to edit your work, revise your work, read your work aloud to yourself, ask somebody else to read your work and have them edit it. And so, because when you think about it, that's a reflection of you, right? And as you go into high school and college, you'll be doing a lot of writing assignments. And I know that your teachers and professors will be looking at the just how good is your writing, your actual writing. How do you express your thoughts? Did you actually go back and revise and edit them? Because nobody ever writes something perfect the first time. We all need to go back and have somebody look at it, or have ourselves read it aloud. So it's just something important that we really need to be doing. Okay, so that leads us into our lesson this week. It's called Revise and Edit a Piece of Writing in Google Docs, okay? So this is in the Google Classroom, so what you need to do, go into Google Classroom. Let me show you here. So if I'll go into 8th grade just to show you guys where it is. So if you go into 8th grade, So now we're on revise and edit a piece of writing. Click start. I'm going to go through some of the videos with you guys, but not all of them. But I will show you how to access the documents that you need for the lesson. And we are not working in a group. So when you watch this video, the person is explaining it through a group, but we are not doing group work. You're working on this by yourself. So what you're doing is you are pretending to be the editor. So it's like you're pretending that one of your friends said, hey, could you read my writing assignment for this week? Could you please edit it for me? And so now you're being the editor, okay? All right, so let's take a look at this. And then
in this lesson, you will collaborate digitally in a small group to review a document using the rules from a provided style guide. Sometimes, when you work on a document for a long time, you are so focused on communicating your message that you miss the tiny mistakes, or may not think of the best way to write what you are trying to say. This happens to even the best writers. Asking someone else to review a document is a great way to make sure it is free of mistakes and ensures that the writer communicates as effectively as possible. The person who does this review is called an editor. In this lesson, you will become an editor to help improve a document. This lesson uses Google Docs, but you could apply these skills and concepts in any word processing application, or even on a piece of paper. As you complete this project, you will use suggesting mode in Google Docs, insert comments in Google Docs, resolve suggestions and comments, and share a document with someone else. To work on this lesson, sign into your Google account. Open a new tab in your browser and navigate to google.com. If you are not signed in, do so now. If you do not have a Google account, pause the video and create one now. Then move on to the next video. Now it's your turn. Sign into your Google account.
okay, so everybody should be in their
In
account
this lesson,
because you are inside of the Google Classroom, right? Okay, so in this next part, you're going to get to choose which of the documents you would like to edit.
in this video, you will get together with your group to read a story. You will then look at the revising and editing style guide checklist and decide who will be responsible for which editing guidelines. For the next few videos, you will work with a group of 3 to 4 people. All group members will gather around one computer first and then return to their own computers. If you don't have a group, ask your teacher. To start, gather at one computer and have a group member open one of the starter projects, make a copy, rename it, and share it with the other group members. This allows you to all work in the same document from your own computers.
Okay, so obviously we're not doing that. Okay, so I'm going to skip
Someone
ahead.
in your group to read the story aloud, then read it to yourself once. Reading it multiple times allows you to become more familiar with the piece. As you revise and edit a document, it is helpful to keep in mind what you are looking for as you read. When professional editors review a document, they follow a style guide. This is a set of rules and guidelines that help editors make sure documents are clear, consistent, and error-free. Each person in your group will use this checklist to edit the document and give constructive, respectful feedback. First, read each rule together to make sure everyone understands what each one means. You will be looking for things like making sure there is a clear beginning, middle, and end, correct punctuation and spelling, a variety of sentence beginnings, and making sure there are descriptive words. Decide who will be responsible for which editing guidelines. Everyone should have at least 2. Each group member will use the editing guidelines they are responsible for to check for those specific errors in the story. Finally, have one group member make a copy of the editing checklist, rename it, and share it with the other group members.
Okay, so obviously we're not sharing it with anybody, right? Except for me when you're done. Okay, so let me just show you guys how to open up the guide. So this is your guide. So if you click on there, you can make a copy into your Google Drive. And so this has everything that you're going to be following. So let me make it a little bit bigger so we can kind of look through it together. So you're going to need to go through each of these questions as you are editing the piece of work, okay? So here's what you're looking for. Does the document have a clear beginning, a middle, and an end? Is the document broken into easy to read paragraphs? Okay. Does each sentence start with a capital letter? That's important. Do all the proper nouns start with a capital letter, like the people's names, the place names? Does each sentence end with a period, a question mark, or an exclamation? So please make sure the words, are they spelled correctly? Are the commas used correctly? Are there any misused homophones, like the word to, there? You always want to make sure you're using the correct word for the context of your sentence. Do most of the sentences start with different beginnings, right? So we don't want them, wait, hang on one second, guys. Hang on 1 minute. I'll be right back. I just have to, sorry about that. Oh, okay. So do most of the sentences start with different beginnings, right? So you don't want to be repeating the same thing. I wrote this story because I like this. I did this. I didn't do that. That's not the best way to write. You always want to start your sentences with different words and have it really sound like you put a lot of thought into it, because hopefully you are. And are there areas where you could substitute a more exciting or descriptive word for one that is less interesting? So I love when I'm writing, I like to use the thesaurus, because if I read my writing and I feel like I'm maybe using the same word over and over again, maybe I want to get a word that sounds a little bit more sophisticated, I usually will put the word into the thesaurus, and then I can see a lot of synonyms, words that are similar, and I can choose one that I think sounds more exciting or descriptive, and I can plug it in for maybe a boring word, okay? So for example, maybe with the word best or the word good, you can go in and change it and make it to a more exciting word, right? And so this is a really great skill for you as you're getting into high school and college, and your teachers and professors will be having you do a lot of writing. You want to make sure that your writing actually sounds exciting and descriptive, and it's not just boring blob of run-on sentences that don't even make sense and they all start with I. Nobody wants to read that, right? Okay, so you're going to need to choose one of the projects. So there's two of them. One of them is called The Show, okay? So I'll open both of them so you could just see them. So this is the first one. It's called The Show. You can see it's just one big blob. So already, right off the bat, just looking at this question, is there a clear beginning, middle, and end? Absolutely not. Are there easy to read paragraphs? No way. It's just one big blob. So you have a lot of editing to do. Okay, if you want to go into the field of editing, then guess what? This is a good start for you. Okay, the next one that you can choose is called The Little Bird. So you can also choose that one. Again, I don't care. Choose the one that sounds more interesting to you that you would rather edit. So again, it looks like a big blob. There's no beginning, middle, or end. There's no easy to read paragraphs. I'm sure if I just started reading it, I probably could find spelling, grammar, capitalization mistakes. So you guys are going to need to go in and you're going to start editing it. Okay, so let's see. How do we edit the story?
In this video, you will go back to your own computers and use a checklist to edit the story. To begin, go to your drive and click on Share with Me to find the story and checklist.
Okay,
then,
so
move the files to your drive.
You're going into your document that you just opened from the Google Classroom, okay? Because we're getting it directly from the Google Classroom. So it'll be inside of your Google Drive. And then you'll open it in Google Docs.
Click on both of them so that they are in two separate browser windows. In Google Docs, there are 3 different modes of editing. Viewing mode allows you to read the documents without changing it. Suggesting mode lets you make suggestions rather than directly changing the text. And editing mode allows you to edit the document directly. For this lesson, you will use suggesting mode. Read the story again, then look at the editing checklist to remind yourself of the first style guide rule you are responsible for. Whenever you find something that you think could be improved by applying your rule, make the change in suggesting mode or insert a comment. Type an X in the editing table when you are finished looking for one of your rules. Read the story again with the next rule in mind. Finish checking for your rules. While you're editing, leave compliments for the writer too, so they know what they have done well and should continue to do in their writing. This helps them feel more positive about your edits if you also compliment them on what you like about the document they've written. Now it's your turn. Open the 2 files that were shared with you, read the story, looking for editing guidelines you are responsible for. Make suggestions in the suggesting mode or insert comments, and check off each rule on your editing checklist.
Okay, so let's take a look. So let's pretend if you're choosing one of them, I'll just show you briefly. So if you go up here, let me move this little camera. If you go here, you can click in and you can change to suggesting mode. So now what this does is whatever you type over and change, it will allow the person to, they can accept it. So for example, I'm just looking here. When I was backstage, when I heard, that's not how you spell heard, right? So as you can see, H-E-A-R-D. Now what I'm doing is, do you see here in the side here, it shows that Mrs. Erica's class made a suggestion. Replace the ERD with EARD. So now the person can decide if they want to do that or not. So they can either do the check and accept the suggestion, or they could reject it. So what you should do is, while you're in suggesting mode, go through and edit the whole thing. Whether it's spelling, grammar, capitalization, you want to make paragraphs, go ahead and do all of that. And then when you're done, you'll be able to just click the checks and it'll change everything. Now, if you want to leave a comment where maybe, for example, like, I don't know if you noticed, but when they were doing the example in the video, they highlighted, I think it was like this last question, right click and then do comment. This doesn't make a suggestion where you could check it off and change it. This just adds a comment for the person to think about. So maybe, and remember, they always said to, when you say a comment, you want to say it like a compliment too. You don't want to make the person feel bad. So you could say like, this is a great sentence. Do you think it would be better at the beginning, right? And then you're just kind of making a suggestion to them. So look, now I'm just leaving a little comment and it highlights my comment. So comments and suggestions are different. Suggestions should be you actually suggesting a change, and you go ahead and make it, just like I changed the spelling, and then they can accept it if they want to. So look what happens when I check the accept box. It changes the spelling of the word because I accepted it, right? So you guys will choose one of them. Remember, you can do the little bird or the show starter. Go through in suggesting mode and suggest and change everything that you would edit. And then you can do the check boxes and change everything, okay? So you do need to go through each of these 10 questions. Make sure that you found any things that need to be edited from any of the questions and that you're then making suggestions, okay? So let me see the next part. Okay, so now this one, he just talks about if you want to implement the suggestions, how you can just check them off. So we just talked about that. And then in this part, he's talking about revising and wrapping it up, okay? Let me see.
In this lesson, you learn how to provide polite and constructive criticism to help someone improve their writing. Writers really appreciate it when editors use rules and guidelines to improve their work. It's easier for everyone when the rules and goals are known. When documents are clear, consistent, and error-free, it's much easier for readers to understand the message and enjoy reading. That's why working together on a piece can be so helpful. In this lesson, you became an editor by taking responsibility for looking for rules from an editing checklist, making suggestions and inserting comments for each rule into a document, communicating with your group members within the document, getting back together in your group to discuss and accept suggestions, resolving and implementing the comments, and sending the revised document to your teacher for their review. By completing this lesson, you learn how to edit a document and why it's always important to do so. In the future, this skill will come in handy over and over again. For example, after you write a short story, ask someone to look it over to make sure the words you choose are exciting and descriptive as possible. And if you write a cover letter to apply for a job, have someone edit it for typos and grammatical mistakes. Spell check might not catch all the mistakes. Congratulations on collaborating digitally to improve a piece of writing.
All right, so great job. Hopefully you guys, he is right. I mean, this is a skill that you'll use. I mean, I use it. I use it every day. I've had a lot of different jobs in my life and I've always had to use this, whether it was for an email I was sending out to someone, or maybe I had to type up a proposal or some sort of a document. And I've always had to go back and edit and revise things. And because I don't ever want to send something out that is just, it hasn't been, no one ever even proofread it. I mean, you shouldn't send out things like that, right? Especially if you're representing an organization, you're representing yourself, right? You want to always send your best work that you know you edited it, you revised it. When you look at it, you're like, yep, this sounds good. This is an excellent piece that I can send out. So please take your time, read through. What you are sharing with me is the final revised edited copy. So you'll press the share button and you'll put in my email and share it with me. So again, I should not be getting back the same blob from you. It should look different. It should have paragraphs. It should look like the spelling is correct, that you actually went through every one of these questions and you edited it. Okay, guys? If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, please get on it. Don't wait till the last week where you're cramming in 13 to 26 different assignments and you're having an anxiety attack. That's not the best way to do life, right? You plan your week, you get your things done each week, and then you can live your life in a way where you're accomplishing your tasks and you're not overwhelmed, right? Okay, so I will see you guys next time. Let me know if you need any help. I'm here for you guys. Bye.